Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Wrestling is Cool podcast, the coolest wrestling podcast on the planet. I'm Santi, that's Sancho, and Seth Rollins is back on Monday Night Raw to end the last monster standing match. Sancho, what a hell of an ending to an episode of Monday Night Raw, the last 3-hour episode of Monday Night Raw, might I add.
I agree. It's a banger of it reminded me of old school Monday Night Raw where just chaos reigns. And did you see the thing where Adam Pearce was like, I purposely put all these warriors together to create Monday Night Raw's chaos? I'm like, yeah, but you still suck as a manager. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a pretty easy excuse to just say I suck at my job.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Like if I'm late all the time because I just don't want you to be fully expecting when I'm going to show up. All right. I want you on your toes. It's like, what?
You're
no,
not
you
a
just
wizard.
suck. Yeah, you just suck at your job, bro.
You're not a wizard, but I think that was a fantastic return for Seth Rollins. And I kind of expected it when he started popping up on my timeline. I was like, oh, okay. He's at the game. He's getting thrown out. He's at the Ravens Sunday Night Football game or Monday Night Football game, whatever. This guy is coming back soon.
Yeah, they kind of spoiled it during the actual episode when they asked Bronson Reed about Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
I always wish that they didn't. They should have just allowed it to be a bit more organic, a bit more out of nowhere, because then the conversation was in the back of everybody's mind. Like, is Seth Rollins coming back today? When I feel, not that it was spoiled or ruined or anything like that, but it would have been, a couple of temperatures hotter had he just shown up out of nowhere.
Well, they didn't play his music. He ran out there. You just saw this looming figure coming from the distance.
That hurt it too. That hurt it too. I didn't want to see him come running around. I feel like he should have just appeared, thrown himself into the ring.
With a black hoodie. You wanted him to be like Tongaloa coming out from the bottom of the ring, almost missing the spot.
Yeah, just he stomps him after the 10 count. That would have been the Tongaloa.
Yeah, the classic Tongaloa. But dude, by far one of the most interesting parts of the last Monster Standing was that it was still creative. And one thing I've been noticing is that WWE has been doing the greatest hits. You got the AJ Styles and Mark Henry type retirement match. You got the Big Show and Breaking the Ring type vibe. It's still good. It still works. Yeah. I enjoyed the hell out of it.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Or if it ain't broke, break it. Break the ring. Because the entire time, I was like some mindless meathead. I was like, break the ring. Come on, fellas. Break it already. And when they broke it, it was still freaking awesome. So, yeah, if things have worked in the past, I'm down for them to do it again. But it wasn't just, a match for the sake of breaking the ring. They broke everything, which I do think kind of elevated that traditional break the ring match that we've seen before to where it stands out on its own, where it isn't just derivative of what's gone on in the past between Big Show and Mark Henry and Big Show and Brock Lesnar in the past. I thought it was awesome in its own right. The only thing that was missing is I wish a fan got yeeted again. That would have been hilarious. Or that they saved that fan yeeting moment for this match.
I thought you literally could have said, I wish the Big Show would have came out. God, that would have been something
Nothing
special.
Would have ruined them more than that. No, that wouldn't have been special. That would have been awful.
It would have been perfect. It would have worked for us because Big Show's been popping up in our match club for so many times. It's so good when he pops in.
He's a goddamn meme, and that's not in the good way either. He's just a meme. I don't like the Big Show. I've never liked the Big Show as a performer. I'm sure as a person, he's great. I never vibed with the Big Show, man. I never vibed with the Big Show. Oh, this week I'm a good guy. Oh, I'm gonna cry for a little bit, and then I'm gonna be a bad guy. Oh, I'm going to why I oughta. That's a more bad guy than me. Let me become a good guy every other week. The Big Show sucked, man.
That's WWE Big Show. What about Paul Wright, dude? WCW, dude.
That's not the Big Show, man. That's the Giant's a different person. It's a different character altogether. But
what about
he was
Jingle
awesome
All the Way Big Show?
All right, well, I mean, you can't beat that.
He goes, I'm gonna deck your halls, bub. What does that mean? Stay away.
So Seth Rollins is back, and I think a pretty accurate direction is probably just a match with Bronson Reed, I would imagine, right? A feud with Bronson Reed. And this is really interesting for Seth Rollins returning to a brand new opponent that we really haven't seen him have a feud against. This is a fresh feud for Seth Rollins. But how awesome is this for Bronson Reed, dude? This is huge. You know what's funny? We kind of called this well, and by we I say me. It was me. That they do this every year, right? They did it with Nakamura, and they put Nakamura with Seth. They're doing it with Bronson, and they're putting him with Seth. It was huge for Nakamura. The only difference is that
Oh yeah,
Nakamura wasn't really able to.
Nakamura now.
He didn't make anything out of it, but the feud and the matches were entertaining at the very least. I think here, though, I do think that Bronson Reed can make something big out of this feud that can be long lasting, as opposed to the short little push that Nakamura had.
It's different because Nakamura is an established name. He's been around for a long time. Bronson Reed's still fresh, still hot. And
Fresh meat.
This is a new Bronson Reed. This is the monster Bronson Reed, who's just doing some great things on the mic, by the way. And he got his hands on Adam Pearce. I want to see it. I cannot wait for that moment that Adam Pearce eats a tsunami, because Adam Pearce deserves a vacation.
Yeah, he deserves. He deserves a trip to the ocean, brother, to the tsunami. Yeah. That's what he deserves. This terrible man at his job.
Would that be the biggest pop for Raw? Is Bronson hitting Adam Pearce with the tsunami? It's been a while since we've seen an authority figure eat a finisher.
Yeah, that'd be pretty awesome. And then it opens the door for obviously Nick Aldis now to get physical as well, who's obviously like a physical marvel in his own right. The man is in incredibly good shape still. I'd like for both of these guys, both former NWA champions, to tussle in the ring, whether it's getting beat up or something.
I want to see a TV show like Ted Lasso, but with wrestlers. That'd be so cool.
Who would be the Ted Lasso of the WWE?
Oh my God. I kind of want to say R-Truth.
Yeah, but R-Truth isn't a leader. Ted Lasso was like a leader. But to your point, R-Truth would be a great Ted Lasso as character.
Be a great character.
100%.
Right,
you got to have R-Truth in there.
God, that's an interesting question, because the cast of Ted Lasso is so good. Like, everybody's on point, and they all feel a necessity, like a necessary void in comedy.
I think I got it. For manager, for a Ted Lasso, give me a fully retired, would never be able to get back into the ring again, Mick Foley.
Yes, I was going to say that when you said fully retired.
Fully retired Mick Foley, baby. Jolly old Saint Mick, man, as the Ted Lasso of the WWE. I think he'd be great. I think he'd be so good.
Oh, considering that he has a family dynamic as well.
Yeah.
His kids seen him wrestle. I mean, good Lord, The Rock had no mercy, bro. The things that the WWE could sometimes put you in, and they ask you to do, and and with his kids in front row, wild
stuff. Literally, to me, that is the epitome of the Jim Ross. That man has a family.
Literally, but it kind of reminds me. Sorry to cut you off. When AEW, if you see the behind the scenes with Brian Danielson, how he's telling his kids, like, "Don't worry, it's just ketchup."
Yeah, I have seen that. Yeah. That'd be so weird to have to explain that to your children, like explain the concept of professional wrestling, in that I'm not really hurt, but don't do this because it could hurt you.
I think I would go like the theater route. But one thing I want to point out, just to go back quickly with Seth Rollins, I feel like this is a great sign to show you that the WWE is just stacked. Like, come on, dude. Does it need Seth Rollins now? No. It doesn't really need him. I mean, they are cooking on all cylinders and everywhere else. I mean, Gunther has his program. The IC title is cooking right now. Why would we need Seth? The only thing is to build up Bronson Reed even more. My question for you, Santi, is does Seth Rollins kick out of a tsunami?
I hope not, but if there's anybody that can without damaging the tsunami and without damaging Bronson Reed, I think it would be Seth Rollins. I'd be
Seth Rollins?
Yeah, I'd be okay with it. I wouldn't want him to kick out of multiple tsunamis. Like, if it was a situation where he hits one tsunami, he kicks out, Bronson Reed is pissed, he hits 5 more, and that ends the match, I feel like that'd be a cool finish. It shows the resilience of Seth Rollins, but it shows the viciousness of the tsunami as a move and Bronson Reed. I'd like to see that.
Like the WWE2K, the resilient button. That's the worst mechanic in WWE 2K.
It's up there. I know this isn't a gaming podcast, but for those Call of Duty guys, it's up there with the death streak of like Martyrdom or Last Stand, where if you suck and you die and I leave a grenade out to kill you. Like, that sucks. Why should you be rewarded for being ass at this game?
Is it triggering you with bad flashbacks?
Dude, the amount of times that I've lost like a nuke streak to some bum ass idiot on Last Stand because I was better than him and I kill him and then he's just like, oh, shoots me with his gun as he's dying. Stupid. It's a stupid mechanic.
I got a confession.
Hit me.
I never got a nuke in Call of Duty. Never.
You suck, brother. You never, brother. I got a nuke. I got a Moab. I got them all, baby. I got them all.
What's your strat? What's the strat? Hit me with it. Help me. Don't laugh at me. We're supposed to be a brotherhood.
Okay,
you and I are doing this podcast together, and you were supposed to help your brother. You know what I'm saying?
The Call of Duty, the Modern Warfare 2 strategy is claymores and one-man army, because every time you kill somebody, you can replenish your equipment. So what you do is you find a room that only has 3 choke points or 3 entrances, and you put one claymore on each side, and then you just camp the third one. And anytime somebody comes in from the other side and dies from a claymore, one-man army, you place another claymore down, and then you just camp in there the whole game. Don't look at me like that. You asked. You wanted to know how the sausage was made, and I'm sorry that you don't like.
I didn't want to know the hard truth. Yeah. That's an awful way of getting it.
Hey, you wanted to know how the sausage was made, all right? I'm sorry that it's not glamorous. I'm sorry that not all of us can be cliques and running around and being just a god at the game. Some of us just need to fake it till we make it, till we get the nuke, all right? I know there's people listening to this that are like, yeah, Santi, thank you so much for being honest and not saying that you're like a god at the game and running around. No. Camp with claymores and just look at one spot.
I'm so disappointed in you. I thought I would get like a loadout or something.
No loadout. No. Just camp. Just camp, brother. Just camp.
It's so okay. Seth Rollins, where does he go from here? Does he elevate Bronson? Does he go back to the title picture? Does he go after Gunther? Like what's the deal with Seth Rollins?
I think Endgame is eventually bringing back Seth Rollins and CM Punk for WrestleMania. I think it was the plan for last year. And what a great pivot it turned out to be, because it led to the elevation of Drew McIntyre. And this Drew McIntyre that we have today, not to deviate too much from your question here, but how crazy is it that Drew McIntyre is like toe to toe with CM Punk on the mic, like one of the best on the mic? Like imagine if it was CM Punk and like 2022 McIntyre or 2022 Austin Theory, right? It would have been like when Cena obliterated Theory. But Drew McIntyre has elevated his game over the last several months where he's like standing toe to toe with what many people consider to be like right below Paul Heyman, the greatest promo in the history of this sport. And Drew McIntyre looks amazing. But to answer your question, I think that the end game is CM Punk. I think that along the way, he faces Drew McIntyre, because he did lose to Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania 40 and they never really got that rematch. It's possible that along the way he might face Gunther. And maybe that's how the CM Punk feud gets triggered. Maybe CM Punk costs Seth Rollins the title match, just like he costs Drew McIntyre title matches. Really? He did it to Drew McIntyre like 4 times.
I don't like the idea of CM Punk doing that to Seth though. Like
Why not?
He's already done it before. We already dipped into that.
Yeah, but he did it as a baby face to a heel. What if it's now doing it as a heel to somebody that he also hates, but now he's just doing it as an actual bad guy? Because CM Punk as a heel is like iconic.
So CM Punk would be the heel versus Seth. Is that what you want?
I think it wouldn't be a traditional like twirl your mustache heel. I think that it could be a very
like
Drew. Literally, I think it could be. No, you think Drew's a twirl your mustache heel?
Yes, of course.
Okay, he is now, but when he first started,
beads down the dude's throat, brother.
Yes, but remember when he first turned heel, and you're like, he's not a heel. He's still a face. He's still justified.
Why you put that voice for
me? That's what you sound like. That was you for a while. I feel like it could be like that with CM Punk, where and I people ridicule me for this idea, but I love the idea of a babyface being heel to one person. Literally. I love that type of character. We saw like that was kind of Seth Rollins. He was heel to just CM Punk when they were together. That was CM Punk doing heel things to just Drew McIntyre. Maybe we continue in that dynamic of CM Punk only being heel to Seth Rollins, but still being like, oh, what a great day to be in Salt Lake City, Utah, huh?
I don't know. Like the only reason why you would have CM Punk heel is because he's not OG in some people's minds, because he's not part. Because Seth could always say you left. Like that's always going to be the ace up his sleeve because that's going to be the angle. It's not going to be about AJ. It's not going to be about Larry. It's just going to be about personal beef. And I think it's not going to be as so black and white. It's either going to be, are you on Seth's side or are you on CM Punk's side? And that's it. It's like Brett and Sean. It's that level of whose side you're on. They're both faces in everyone's minds. They're not heels. They're just CM Punk and Seth Rollins. But I don't like the idea of Seth Rollins having to be like a number one contender, like to go through that route. Like you and I both said before, Seth Rollins is the kind of guy he could say, I want to fight you.
Yeah, he just walks in, he gets it. The reason why I'm kind of leaning towards the possibility of Punk being a heel down the line is that amazing promo he just cut on the recent episode of Raw when they were in the Hell in a Cell. And this quote, man, it sticks with me. You've made me the boogeyman that my biggest detractors or my biggest haters have claimed that I was for so long. And that boogeyman is like this terrible human that everyone from AEW says that he was. Everyone that's like a critic of CM Punk has said that he's just this terrible person. He just admitted that Drew McIntyre, you've made me into this boogeyman. And maybe it continues. Maybe it continues to snowball into maybe him actually becoming that terrible version of himself against other people that he hates, like a Seth Rollins.
I feel that Punk is going to kind of rehash or not necessarily reuse things that when he had a feud with MJF, because MJF said the same thing. He called him PG Punk at one point during their promos. And he said, dude, you're not the same guy that I knew before in the past. The voice of the voiceless. You're not him.
You're not that guy, pal. You're not that guy
anymore. And I wonder if Seth Rollins, I don't think Seth Rollins is going to dip into that too much because Seth Rollins genuinely dislikes CM Punk. And I think the more you just lean into that and just let it grow is great. Because like the stuff with Drew McIntyre or CM Punk is fantastic, but it's scripted. Like it's in a sense, and I know that's a weird thing to say for a wrestling podcast, but I love it when the stuff that is real gets amplified a little bit more. And I think that's what they're going to do. I mean, CM Punk and Seth Rollins are professional. And I think that's the one thing that's kind of stopped CM Punk when his AEW run, when we talked about it in that bonus podcast that we did, is that CM Punk always knew and understood the business that it was about money and putting people in the seats. And he will never jeopardize a relationship if it costs him his money. And Seth Rollins versus CM Punk is going to make a lot of money. And not just one match. I'm talking about a trilogy of matches with CM Punk and Seth Rollins, just the same way as Drew McIntyre and CM Punk, where both of them got very personal. But CM Punk, I don't think, of course, at the end of the day, does not hate CM Punk or Drew McIntyre in any kind of shape of way.
Yeah. I like to have some boundaries when it comes to realism sneaking into the world of professional wrestling. Like, for example, I like the idea of them using this professional hatred or maybe actual hatred that Seth Rollins and CM Punk have to making a feud, so long as everybody's actually good now and it's just acting, right? What I didn't love, for example, is Lita actually cheating on Matt Hardy with Edge, and then Vince McMahon saying like, such great shit, let's make this an actual feud. It's like, bro, that sucks. I don't want to see that.
You could tell that it still hurts everybody that was involved, because it's your airing out personal business and you have to put on a face, and that's not fun. And I think like when you look at the difference between the Paul Levesque era and the Vince McMahon era is that Paul or Triple H puts everybody in positions that they're comfortable with, and he wouldn't ask him to do something that he wouldn't do. But it's kind of different with Vince. I know Vince had that same notion where he's like, oh, I mean, I could jump off this big old thing. Why don't you do it? Look, I'm going to do it right now with Rob Gronkowski, right? He's like, it's not a big deal. But this is a completely different era. And I know that Vince McMahon documentaries out there on Netflix. For me, when it comes down to it, I'm just so happy that Vince is gone, and I'm so happy that Triple H is in this position because it allows professionals like CM Punk to do what they do best without warning, without ever having this shadow of or insecurity that's all going to be ripped away from him for like a random storyline. And that's why I think CM Punk is thriving in this system.
Yeah, I think you and I are entirely in agreement here. Maybe we're just in slight disagreement as to how we eventually get to CM Punk and Seth Rollins, but it seems like we agree that's the end goal. What does Seth Rollins do in the meantime, though? Because I don't
Yeah,
think that this Bronson Reed thing is a one-off, right? I don't think it's Saudi Arabia and that's it. I could see this being Survivor Series, Saudi Arabia, maybe going into the first episode of Netflix in some like super violent match. Cause like we're in that time frame where if you can start a feud right now, it could culminate on the first episode of Raw on Netflix. And I feel like that'd be awesome for Seth Rollins and Bronson Reed.
I definitely don't want to deter from your statement. I do agree with that, but my question is, where does Braun Strowman go? Braun Strowman feels like he was utilized really well in this feud. He amplified himself with this toughness, and he amplified Bronson Reed, which is great because we were all worried when Braun Strowman got involved in the program. We're like, oh man, Braun Strowman's going to bury Bronson Reed's push. But I feel like Braun Strowman is now free for the Wyatt Six, maybe. Right?
I don't think so. I think
No?
I think he's gonna get inserted in the. I think eventually you gotta visit the black sheep of the family, right?
Right.
With the Wyatt Six and Braun Strowman. But I think we're setting up for Braun Strowman and Final Testament, most likely, right? You got the Miz, R-Truth. They're still a thing. Like that storyline was still developing alongside the Bronson Reed storyline. So it's probably going to be that, which is actually such a, in my opinion, a major downgrade for what Braun Strowman has been doing. But, like, kudos to Braun Strowman. I was not a fan of him being inserted into the Bronson Reed push. If you remember, I was like, dude, this sucks. I don't want to. And then it turned out to be amazing. It's one of those situations where there's people that just know more than me that are running this ship. All right. And that's a good thing. That is a good thing.
Yes. Let's revisit this.
No, stop.
Yes.
No.
No. You avoided my call on Discord. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know, my man Santi desperately wants to be on the Xavier Woods, Kofi Kingston, Karrion Kross train. And what happened, Santi, on Monday Night Raw? You could go ahead and change cameras like Kevin Dunn all you want, brother. All I know is Karrion Kross is still part of Xavier Woods, Kofi. You saw him standing there menacingly in the background, waiting for his opportunity, listening in, eavesdropping in. Yeah, go ahead. You could be whatever you want to do. You could be Karrion Kross. Look, there he is. Look at Karrion Kross watching, standing there menacingly. How long can you hold that pose? You got big quads, big old tree trunks there. Yeah. Audio listeners, you're missing the perfect squats. But Santi, I hate to break it to you, Santi, as much as you want to be on this train, Santi, I'm going to have to tell you, you're not allowed, Santi. You're still not allowed. And yet you still post. And by far your most popular post on all your TikToks and Instagram is the Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston. Man, oh man, doesn't it suck not to be on this train? Huh?
I don't need to be on this train anymore. I've started my own airline. It's airline Kofi versus Xavier at WrestleMania. Yeah. It doesn't have Karrion Kross. Karrion Kross. No, it shouldn't. In my eyes, it doesn't have Karrion Kross.
Why would you say that? I hate the people in the comments. I don't hate them, but I hate you for saying this because why does Xavier has these thoughts? You think he just magically woke up one day and said, oh, hey, I don't like my position is in WWE? No, it was Karrion Kross that injected these thoughts and let the poison pill and let the brain rot happen to Xavier Woods. And now we have this issue. Now we have this friction. Now we have dynamic backstage segments with Kofi and Xavier. We have dynamic matches with Kofi and Xavier as singles. We had great match with Chad Gable and Kofi Kingston where Xavier Woods all of a sudden grabs the foot and costs him by not setting up the thunder or the trouble in paradise. And here you are, like a thundercloud. Just accept that you were wrong. You literally just said so 5 seconds ago. You said, there's other people out there who know more than me. And who to do?
You're not one of those. You're not one of those.
I just want you to acknowledge, Santi, is that you blew this feud out the water before it even had a chance to breathe. It was like a little turtle, a little sea turtle, going out into the real world onto the sandy beach, and you were like a seagull, and you took it away.
I would like to talk directly to the jury here.
Oh, you want to make a plea to the WIC?
I'd like to talk directly to the jury here. I sit here accused of crimes of not sticking to what was a mediocre feud that was routinely the worst thing on Monday Night Raw. routinely the worst thing on Monday Night Raw. Can you blame me for not thinking that garbage was delicious? Can you blame me for not wanting? Do I have the floor? Can I talk? I'm sorry. Sure. I thought this was. I'm sorry. I thought I had the floor.
I'm sorry. You're right. This is we're cordial men here.
Okay. Right? I thought I had the floor. All right. I thought I had the floor. Right. I was in there the impression that I had the floor.
I apologize.
So, do you want to sit here and crucify me because I didn't want to stick around during a terrible storyline and a terrible feud? Is it okay to be sat here in front of thousands of people and accused by Sancho West, a man, by the way, that did not believe in main event Jey Uso, a man that routinely said that main event Jey Uso does not work, that he's one-dimensional, that he's boring, that he's never going to win any singles gold, and now he's over there yeeting. He's over there doing the exact same thing that I'm trying to do. You have led him back on the Jey Uso. Do I have the floor? I thought I had the floor. You have let this man seep his way back into the Jey Uso train when not more than a couple of months ago, he sat here with a straight face and told you, I don't think it's working. I don't see it. He's just a tag team guy. His moveset just isn't it, brother. It's just not gonna work for me, brother. That was Sancho when it comes to Jey Uso. And he dares sit here on his high horse with his fancy man glasses, his rich man hat, his fancy schmancy lighting in the back, worth who knows how much money, from this ivory tower of WrestleMania 39 in the box seats. He dares to tell me that I'm not allowed on the train when he has been riding coach first class on the Jey Uso train that he was never allowed on in the first place. So I say we have shown this man forgiveness. We have allowed him back into the Jey Uso fold. And I ask you, why shouldn't I be given these same attributes, the same treatment?
Are you done?
I see the floor.
Thank you. Santi, in fact, in your last plea, you said you did not acknowledge that Karrion Kross was part of the feud. And you tried to plant that this was a completely different train, that you belong on the New Day train.
It is a different.
And in fact,
sorry, you have the floor.
Thank you. In fact, you were proven wrong by the WWE that Karrion Kross is still in part of this train. No matter how you could slice it, no matter how you deal it, Karrion Kross is part of the feud. Now, clearly, my opponent here has decided to sling mud at me and bring in a completely different conversation rather than acknowledging that he was wrong. He's yet still so much all ego in him to not acknowledge that he was wrong about Xavier Woods. Because my friends, what I said about Jey Uso, which he continues to skew my many hours of podcasting about main event Jey Uso, is that I enjoy Jey Uso when he dips into Uso penitentiary. And when Jay did that against Braun Breaker and he says, I'm going to dog walk your ass, I was like, yes, that's the main event Jay we love. Yes, less yeeting, more being Uso penitentiary.
So you're saying...
No. I'm not done yet. So the fact that you try to pull in main event Jey Uso conversations into this Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston shows to me that you were wrong. And the difference was, I did not just blatantly go, Jay sucks. I never want to see this. You were like, this is the worst part of Monday Night Raw. I never want to see this. Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston are the worst, and you had no faith. And this is why I'm shunning you. I'm trying to teach you a moral lesson in the WWE, in the internet wrestling community, that Samantha Irvin has also tried to teach the same lesson. Just sit back and enjoy it, because it is awesome. And you should just apologize to Xavier and Kofi and Karrion on Instagram or on Twitter, whatever you want to do, and ask for forgiveness. And if they reply back to you and give you back your boarding pass, I'll allow it.
It's interesting.
I'm not a gatekeeper. I'm not a gatekeeper. No.
It seems it's literally what you are. You are literally at the gate of the train, keeping me away from it.
I gave you a chance. I said, do you think you want to be on this train? And you said, no, I never want to be on this train. So I'm being your boy, and I'm holding you to this word. And I told you, you have one chance. And then I said, you're banned.
It's a different train. I don't care which way she slices. Just because now Karrion Kross appears in the background like a looming figure. The best stuff, all right, listen to this. Listen to what I'm about to say. The best stuff of this feud has been without Karrion Kross. I promise you that when Karrion Kross reinserts himself narratively into this, it's going to be bad. I'm sticking by that statement. I promise you. And here's the thing, all right? You were off the Jey Uso train and you said, once he dipped back into the Uso penitentiary, I was back on. Okay, so you got to get back on the train once it got good. Why can't I be allowed on this train?
You never banned me. You never banned me from the Jey Uso train.
Because I'm a good person. I don't ban people. I don't gatekeep people from wrestling.
That is your mistake. That is your mistake.
It's my mistake. Listen, this is a different train. Look, there's two trains going right now, right?
That's your issue. You're saying it's a different. No, it's the same.
It's a different train. It's a different train. It's a different train. There are two trains going right now, and one has Karrion Kross in it. One has Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston in it.
60 miles an hour. The other's going 70 miles an hour. At what point do they meet at WrestleMania? Is that the kind of question you have here?
Kind of. All right. And in one, Karrion Kross is the conductor. And in the other one, Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston have taken over. Just because Karrion Kross has decided to jump temporarily into this train doesn't now make it the Karrion Kross train. I don't want part of the Karrion Kross train. I want part of the New Day train. And that's what I deserve to be a part of. I want to root for it. But you're gatekeeping me from it because Sancho, you're an elitist.
I'm not an elitist.
You're an elitist.
You shot yourself in the foot. Now you're blaming me for giving you the gun.
You don't get to. You don't. You know what? You're off the Ilya Dragunov trend when he comes back from his injury. Just watch. You've been talking so poorly about him. He gets hurt. On your stream, you were probably like, "Oh no!" But you don't get to be on the Ilya train. You don't get it.
You could turn this all around. You could ban me from a million trains, but you will never, ever, ever be on the New Day train.
You're banned on wrestling. You're not even allowed to.
Look, the one thing I just feel sad for you, because if you continue like ragging on Karrion Kross, you're not going to enjoy The Miz. I'm sorry, The Miz heel turn is amazing, and I'm so happy for The Miz.
Was it amazing?
Yes, because we're getting more heel Miz. Miz in his element. Natural Miz. Miz what he does best.
Okay, but like, you're actually going to sit here. Hang on.
Why did we get it? Because of Karrion Kross.
You're actually going to sit here and tell me that Karrion Kross is the reason why The Miz can be a heel when he was already one of the greatest heels in the past 15 years, that we needed Karrion Kross to have heel Miz? The Miz could have turned heel because his coffee was too cold and everybody would have been on board. We didn't need Karrion Kross to turn The Miz heel. It's already The Miz, brother.
Did Rocky Balboa need Apollo Creed to beat Clubber Lane? No.
Stop with your bum-ass 80s references, all right? The average age of our listeners is like 20, all right? So stop. They don't know what that is.
Did not. Okay? My point I'm going to tell you is you just need to acknowledge that they're using Karrion Kross as a vehicle, a utility.
And I'm telling you, I'm aware.
A story device to turn wrestlers into what they could be, to a new way, to a fresh way. And if you were open to it, you'd be so excited to see, like, oh my God, Karrion's talking to X person. Karrion's talking to that person. What he's going to do to this wrestler. Instead, you're like, Karrion Kross, no Scarlett, I'm out. That's you. That's you.
Anything could do the job of that character of Karrion Kross. Anybody. You can literally substitute anyone. It's just gaslighting. Anyone could do that. A Twitter post could do that. All right. I don't subscribe to this notion that X and Y is good because of Karrion Kross. Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston would be good with or without Karrion Kross. We could have gotten to this point. It was the Karrion Kross stuff that was boring.
What happened to you? You used to like Karrion Kross.
I do. I just don't like what they're doing here with Karrion Kross.
What happened? He was awesome on NXT. And look at you. He had a sick entrance with Scarlett. Come on, man. He would come. At least it's not as like atrocious as him coming out with a big old time sand thingy. We're evolving, man. He's feeding the AOP, giving them their due, giving them some food, helping them out. And then we had a dark match with Karrion Kross and Scarlett versus the Terror Twins. Come on, dude. If Karrion goes after Damian, we got something.
We might have something. We might have something. Look, the last thing I'm going to say on this is that the bits that Karrion has been a part of when it comes to his, like, I'm gaslighting X, Y, or Z, whether he was doing it to Nakamura, whether he's doing it to Xavier Woods, or whether he's doing it to The Miz, those are actively the most boring parts of the story.
That's why I can't let you on the train. I'm part of the train. I'm sorry.
I don't want to be on the Karrion train. I just told you. I don't want to be on the Karrion train.
Just accept that it's a part of the train, and we'd be all hunky-dory, my guy.
It was a different train.
You be hunky, and I'll be dory,
I'd be
dude.
Dory. Be like Dory and forget what's happened and let me back on the train then.
No.
So you're not Dory.
I'm not giving you forgiveness here because you blatantly said you didn't want to be on the train. Like, I don't know what to tell you, dude. Someone go to the footage of him just railing me.
This is the dumbest. Like,
yes, it is.
I hate this. I hate this so much. I hate this so much.
Yeah. It's just like there's bigger storylines. And we're just two dudes talking about trains the whole time.
Have you ever played Ticket to Ride?
Have
you ever played the board game Ticket to Ride?
No. What is it a train?
It's literally a train board game where it's like a map of the United States or Europe, and you have like different train pieces. And like at the start of the game, like you pull a bunch of cards. It's like, oh, you have to connect Toronto to Los Angeles, and your job is to connect like railroad pieces from LA to Toronto without like kind of telling your opponent what your destination is, because then they can block it, making you go all the way around. And then once you're out of pieces, it's whoever has made the most connection wins. It's fun.
But how would you block? You like put a mountain or something?
No, you could block with your own railroad track, because you can't have two opposing railroad tracks on the same board piece.
How many trains are active on the board? Like 6 players, 8 players?
You can have up to 8 players.
Really?
It can get hectic. It can get hectic.
A lot what's your favorite train piece? What color?
I play as the red train piece. The Monday Night Raw train piece.
The Monday Night Raw train. My question for you is, when you play Monopoly, do you go for the trains?
No, I try to go for low value real estate at the start, because it's usually right after go. You know, you collect $200 and then you immediately have to pay me. It's a good strategy. What is that? I got
this from, it's the WrestleMania Monopoly
game.
Oh,
that's sick.
Yeah.
Dude, so what's the boardwalk? Is the boardwalk WrestleMania?
They're actually, I'm sorry if you hear my dog barking right now. They're actually moved. And I never opened this, but the one that's the last piece is the rock bottom.
Oh, that's weird. I figured it'd be like shows.
No, it's like you do moves on your opponents. I never played this, but they got belts. But do you know what's the brown piece?
What's the brown piece?
The brown property.
Yeah, what is it?
It's Hulk Hogan.
It's Hulk Hogan's leg drop. The garbage ass move. That's funny.
But it has like a little ring in it, dude.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I don't. Maybe we could play it one day. Maybe you could put down this beef that we have. Did you know that Karrion Kross likes some of my Twitter posts?
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, what wrestler, when they liked your post, you're like,
Randy. Randy Orton.
Oh, Randy Orton. That's
dude. It's because Randy liked the troll post of mine, and it's yeah. So like it was during the whole Tony Khan making fun of Jinder Mahal for getting a world title opportunity.
Yeah.
And I made this troll tweet. It was a troll tweet where I said, like, don't ever tell me Tony Khan can't make any stars. He made a star out of Jinder Mahal today. Not super funny, but whatever. It's a troll tweet. Got some traction. Randy Orton liked it. Because I'm sure a lot of the locker room wanted to voice something about, one of their own, right? Getting railroaded by somebody from another company, but they couldn't. So what's the best way to do it? Just a couple Twitter likes here or there.
Did that get you a follow from Randy?
Yeah, I still have a follow from Randy.
There you go.
Yeah, I got to get Adam Copeland. Then I've got the Ruthless Aggression trio.
I still think your biggest get was Samantha Irvin acknowledging that they got rid of the Chelsea Green.
Dude, they reported that.
Yes, because of you poking the bear, we got it added to her Death Rebel song.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Making mountains move here, folks. Making mountains move.
I have a question for you.
Hit me.
What is Triple H's greatest rehire? We've been talking about Bronson Reed, Braun Strowman,
Karrion
Chelsea
Kross.
Green, Karrion Kross. What would you say like is low key the best Triple H rehire?
It might be obviously like recency bias, but it's tough right now to not say Bronson Reed with how good he's kind of just continued to progress, right? I think it's really easy to bring back a top star, right? And they kind of just immediately reinsert themselves back into the main event scene. But we're talking about a guy, Bronson Reed, that wasn't being used very well before Triple H. And Triple H rehired him, and we're seeing the growth, an exponential growth from Bronson Reed. We're actually seeing him bringing back bringing back somebody and under Triple H becoming a star. To me, when I look at bang for your buck, when I look at value add, I gotta go with Bronson Reed right now as maybe the best Triple H rehire. Because yeah, you've got the wide six, bunch of rehires there, but I don't think that they have quite exponentially had the character growth and the professional growth of a Bronson Reed in the time that he's returned. Granted, Bronson Reed's been back longer, but there's other ones, right? Like there's Johnny Gargano. It's not bad, but like, I'd have Bronson Reed significantly over him. Braun Strowman's an interesting one. I still have Bronson Reed. Nia Jax has to be in the conversation as well.
That's my pick.
I think that's a great pick, actually. Actually, kind of for similar reasons to Bronson Reed, don't you think? Like we've seen progression and growth from Nia Jax since the rehire.
I think the reason why I picked Nia Jax is because her on the mic skills are getting better. Her in-ring ability is getting better. Her intensity is unmatched. And her presence as a wrestler just towers over all the talent and gives someone like a Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair to do their strong wrestling and whatnot. And I just think that because Nia Jax has a bigger kind of obstacle to overcome, this aura that she has been problematic and hurts people that's been following her since she's debuted on the roster. It kind of reminds me, and I don't slow down a little bit of a Roman. She got that big push, that mega push like Roman for the women's roster. And people didn't like her. We didn't want to see her. We didn't want to do anything. And then she disappeared, and then she comes back better than ever. She found a new gear. And I think Roman, she found a new gear. And for her to choke out Tiffany Stratton, I think is kind of intense. And I've never seen a wrestler choke anyone. The only thing that kind of brings me in mind is, like, in that kind of way, is like a Dave Bautista with Rey Mysterio. He's, I'm going to hurt you, Rey. Like, that's the only kind of intensity that I have seen. That's the first thing that comes to mind. But I love Nia Jax. And I think Nia Jax is actually doing something for the women's division more than Rhea and Liv right now. Rhea and Liv right now are just outside characters for the Dominic Mysterio. And I was kind of thinking about this. It's like, man, it kind of hurts the Monday Night Raw roster. Like that women's division on the Monday Night Raw, we thought would be elevated in some sort of way with Rhea coming back, but it just has kind of done nothing. It's been in a weird spot because it's either Rhea and Liv or PFC, and that's it. There's nothing in between. But I feel like the other side on SmackDown, because they have someone active like Nia Jax, it's been better. Like I cannot wait to see what happens with that side of the roster.
It's almost like I wish that the world title wasn't in the mix of Rhea and Liv Morgan, because it doesn't need it, because Dominic Mysterio is kind of the catalyst for that storyline, right?
He's
the forbidden fruit that's going to be dangling from the top, right?
No. So gross.
Yeah, what I was saying is that to a degree, the Liv Morgan Rhea Ripley feud is already so good that it doesn't actually need the title. But by it having the title, while also being such a heated feud between just those two, it means that the title and the main event scene is kind of locked at the moment to only those two. Meanwhile, you look at Friday Night SmackDown, and there's nothing that's locking that title to only one or two individuals. There's four people that could be looking at that title. Like, I kind of wanted Naomi to win that match. It would have been interesting to see Naomi versus Nia Jax for the title. But we've got sharks hovering around. Meanwhile, on Monday Night Raw, we can't have that because it is literally in a vacuum, a feud that is happening for the world title that cannot even be accessed by other women around at the moment, right? So once this feud is over, I do foresee the EOs of the world who are right now doing those like Skyrim side quests in the tag team division. Maybe a Lyra Valkyria, who just sort of seems out of place in what she's doing right now, could be reinserted. It's just a symptom of what kind of feud this is at the moment. It is absolutely a main event feud, Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan, but the side effect, the symptom that not only is it happening to the women's world title, but also to the tag titles that the Judgment Day has, is that they're stuck in a vacuum, and it's tough to bring in other people from different divisions or that aren't part of this microcosm of a feud that's going on to make it seem like the division is bigger and healthier than it actually is. Look at SmackDown, man. They're doing it right. Women's is doing it right. The tag titles are doing it right. It's a healthier ecosystem for those titles right now than what's going on with the Raw titles that are in the Judgment Day vacuum.
Correct. And like even the on Raw with the world title, the IC title, they tend to have characters who kind of float around, who have that vague presence at any moment.
Look at Braun Breaker.
Right,
just
Braun
like
Breaker
just appearing
Gunther, right?
Yeah,
you're just like, oh, this is awesome. And what's interesting because Zelina Vega had that opportunity on Raw. She kind of inserted herself with Liv Morgan. You know, I was like, cool. Zelina Vega is a great third character just to have swarming around, and at any moment, Liv Morgan could have a fight with Zelina Vega. I'd be like, this is awesome. But now it's just regulated to this weird thing where Rhea Ripley now who you know goes after Dom and attacks Dom. And it's kind of in a strange spot because Rhea Ripley can't take any offense from Dom. Like, that's not going to happen. There's no way the WWE will allow Dom to get his hands on Rhea. So now it's up to Liv. And then when you have this distraction with Dom, I just don't buy it when Rhea says it's all about the title, because she had an opportunity to win the title. She had Liv beat, and she hit her with a God, the move escaped me right now.
Riptide?
She hit her with the Riptide, and she sat there, and then Dom... She wanted to hit her with a chair, and Dom was like, "No, you're gonna lose the title. Don't do that." Remember that moment?
Yeah.
So when Rhea Ripley was saying it's about the title, that was their opportunity to make it about the title to win. Yeah. But now she says, "I want to get everything back," and she needs the title to get everything. I don't see all that, right? Like It's a kind of clouded mess on that side over there. But SmackDown with Nia Jax at the helm, it's clear as day. But my question for you, Santi, is: do you think Tiffy Stratton swerves us and cashes in on Liv and Rhea?
That'd be huge. That'd be awesome. It'd be a great way to get that title out of that feud. Right? Because basically what you said there before your question was that this feud doesn't need the title. Like literally, it's like more or less what we're both saying here. That'd be an interesting way to get that title out of that feud. That feud can still continue on without the title. And then once that feud is done, then we can have that ecosystem revolving around the women's title on Monday Night Raw. It'd be a cool swerve. I don't see it happening just mostly because of how ingrained the storyline is happening on Friday Night SmackDown. I think maybe the swerve that they want you to believe could happen is Tiffany cashing in on Nia, which I also don't see happening. Not at Bad Blood. I think that they stretch this out a little bit longer.
You think so? I mean, I think it'd be interesting to see Tiffy with the title. I don't think she fails. I think that would hurt her so much if she fails.
Yeah.
I hope she doesn't fail.
I don't think she's going to fail. I'm willing to put money that it's Survivor Series. They've been treating Survivor Series like a bigger PLE. And obviously last year, you're not going to top CM Punk, right? Like that's huge. The year before that, the Sami Zayn stuff with War Games and Roman Reigns in there. I'm looking at like possible, like really great shock things that could happen at Survivor Series that could elevate Survivor Series to continue to feel like a big four PLE. And it could be a Tiffany Stratton cash in.
All right. So let's talk about that real quick. A little detour. Who's going to be the women's War Games? I mean, I think you're kind of hinting at it. I like the idea of Nia Jax led War Games with Bayley on the other side. Like you got Nia, Tiffy, Piper, and Chelsea Green on the other side. Then you have Bayley, Naomi, Michin, and they need a fourth, right?
Yeah, I'm a little confused on War Games if there is the ability to do a women's War Games. Obviously there is in terms of talent. There is. I'm just looking at like storylines that are in place right now. When we look at the men, Bloodline Civil War Games, that's likely the direction because Judgment Day the only faction that they'd be going up against would be the LWO, and I just don't think that that's what anybody really
How
wants to
dare
see.
you? How dare you?
I like the LWO. I'm just saying for war games, you don't want to see that.
You do. We both agree. I said LWO. Ray not being around was weird. Like Ray, I know you lost, but you got to be around your boys. Got to help out the LWO, man.
I agree. Yeah. Anyways, on the men's side, I think it's a SmackDown story. But do you foresee that women's war games would also be a SmackDown story? Because historically, they've been swapping where if the Raw men's if the Raw war games match is the men's, the SmackDown side will be the women's war games, and vice versa. They've been kind of swapping between the two. Would it be both SmackDowns? Because I hate to say it, brother. Because if we're looking at the women from Monday Night Raw, we're looking at a PFC War Games.
Yeah, that's what you want. But I mean, you would have Unholy Union in the mix. Maybe you have Jade and Bianca. They want to throw them in the War Games. Lyra Valkyria would be a great ad. It's just the storyline's not there.
That's it. The storyline's not there.
The storyline's not there.
I think they tried to make the storyline be there where we're PFC, we're taking you all out.
We want you to notice. Yeah.
We put you on notice, right? Like, and we're seeing these people coming back. We saw Katana Chance and Kaden Carter come back. Lyra Valkyria recently came back. We had Damage Control come back and attack the PFC after being taken out. We have Dakota Kai still in the locker room, still hurt. Maybe she comes back for War Games.
Somewhere in SmackDown. I don't know.
So I think they tried to make a storyline where all of these people could come back and take on the big baddies of the PFC, but I don't want to see that, man. It's not worked in terms of generating good buzz and interest.
Do you feel this is where that 2-hour Raw is going to hurt the most? I feel like the women's division, which is already not, it took like an hour and a half for one Raw to finally get to PFC, which is not that good, man. I mean, SmackDown, I think, does a better job with the 2 hours that they get the women's. I mean, yes, there are weeks that we talked about where Nia Jax doesn't do anything and she gets a small backstage segment, but then she gets a longer segment next week. I don't think that Monday Night Raw has room for a short backstage segment vignette with PFC going into a big blow-off match. That I just don't see that in the cards for Monday Night Raw, and it's not let's make this like the women are gonna suffer in the sense of like they're not getting enough time. It's just that the storyline, like you mentioned, like how you trumpeted, the storylines is just not there.
Yes,
for them to get that time,
it's going to be problematic. SmackDown for 2 hours works because their roster is small enough for a 2-hour show.
Yeah,
the Raw roster is not getting smaller, brother. It's a roster designed the Raw roster is designed for a 3-hour show. And now it's going down to 2 hours. Something that is currently getting time on TV will not get time on TV. It's math, bro. Law of thermodynamics, right? Something needs to disappear. And I think it would be PFC. And maybe they're I would say they're gearing towards that, but they're not because they're having these returns, right? They had Katana Chance and Kaden Carter come back and put PFC on notice. So I don't know, man. Like, something's going to have to give on that 2-hour episode of Raw. What is interesting for the first 2-hour episode of Raw, something that I kind of called on a YouTube video, not here on the podcast, is happening. I said that they were going to save Sami Zayn versus Gunther for that first episode of Monday Night Raw. That's 2 hours. And that they were going to make that episode amazing because they want to put the message out there that just because Raw is 2 hours doesn't mean it's any less worth watching. So I figured, hey, they have this 2-hour show that a lot of people are like, oh, maybe Raw's not the A show anymore. It's not the flagship. They're going to make it amazing. They're going to make it amazing so that that's not the prevailing thought. 2 hours though, somebody's going to get got.
True. I mean, there's going to be less recaps, perhaps. They could kind of, they would be able to have that opportunity. My lord. But Attitude Era was also 2 hours too, man.
Yeah.
They got a lot done in those 2 hours.
Attitude Era didn't care about the women.
No, for sure. But they had the Cruiserweight division. They had more in terms of the tag team. They had everything cooking. Like, they got all those storylines. They got through it. And at the end of the day, you still got your main event. But yes, I would agree. The Attitude Era is not the best era because the women's wrestling was god-awful.
Mm-hmm. So
non-existent.
Pretty much non-existent, right? Like, yeah. I hope it's not the women that get the shaft on Monday Night Raw, but like you said, they made it work on SmackDown. I'm sure, and it's two full months of really relevant Monday Night Raws that they need to, because December it's kind of a wash, but it's 3 months that they need to navigate. They're gonna be fine.
And we're not saying that they're going to get rid of PFC. They're just not going to be on weekly. They'll be like bi-weekly. They're going to pop in and do their thing. But I've noticed is that Monday Night Raw's cadence is going to change because they usually have a promo opening in the second, like every hour, top of the hour, there's a promo. And I think they just limit those. Like we don't need, so for example, I didn't need Drew and CM Punk to be in the middle of the ring with that one security guard doing this the whole time.
Yeah, he was doing too much. You know what? You know what he's gonna end up being? He's gonna end up being a big star, and then we're gonna look back on this moment like LA Knights, during the Triple H workout tape. We're gonna be like, look at Jiminy Smitty over there trying to make a moment for himself.
Look, let me clear the air, okay? I am a man of many lives. I lived my life. I used to be an extra back in LA when I first moved there, Central Casting. I've been on sets where my first set that I was on, I was a little extra, like no pun intended. I was a little bit too much. And so what they did is they moved me closer to the camera. So that way I wouldn't be too much because now the focus is on me a little bit more. But dude, you get a direction. You want to make a name for yourself. You want to stand out a little bit. And sometimes you stand out a little bit too much. There's a lot of other security guards there that are standing out too much. Hey, dude, you're doing your best, bro. This is your first opportunity. I remember it was in a pilot episode with Jason Biggs. He was the main star in it, and it was like a lawyer show that they were doing. And I was at a bar, and I was acting a little bit too much. But I was at a bar, you know.
Hey.
Yeah,
I got you're the waiter, and you're doing the Bret Hart plates.
Yeah, a little bit too much. I understand, dude. I understand the vibe, man. I completely understood. You know, but yeah, they did stick out like a sore thumb. But like that's what I mean. Like I'm not concerned about Raw dropping to 2 hours. They're just going to be more efficient. If SmackDown could figure it out, I think Raw can. And I know the roster is bloated, but I just feel the biggest thing probably ever is like, you know, we're gonna get less live shows as well. Not that many house shows. They're lowering those. I think the roster is going to get healthy, but I still would like to get rid of this brand split. It's not working. If both shows are going to stay 2 hours, they got to get rid of the brand split.
I don't know about getting rid of the brand split. I like the brand split.
Why?
I like it.
Why? If I buy a ticket, why do I want to just see only Cody? I want to see the other side. I want to see Gunther.
What is one of the highest selling video game series on the Game Boy? You know?
Tetris?
No. Beyond Tetris. After Tetris. Little Pocket Monsters. What is it called?
Wait, why are you hating on me? I gave you the right answer.
No. Just listen. All right. It's Pokemon. And they sold you a brand split. Pokemon Red, Pokemon Blue. You pick the game that you want to watch the superstars that you want. And if you're a big enough fan, you bought both games to get all the Pokemon that you want. I like the idea of me needing to watch more wrestling to get more wrestlers. If I just got all of the wrestlers I wanted on Monday Night Raw, I would only watch Monday Night Raw. I might not jump over to SmackDown. And I'll tell you this, right? Like this has happened before. They removed the brand split and they made Raw there was still Raw and SmackDown. This was in the early 2010s. They did the Raw Super Show where all of the stars from SmackDown appeared on Raw. But all of the Raw ones didn't appear on SmackDown. You know what happened? No one watched SmackDown anymore because there's no reason to jump over to watch the superstars that you couldn't get on this show. I think it just creates an ecosystem of like, I want to watch this show. I want to watch this show. Let me jump over to NXT. Let me jump over to Raw and SmackDown. I like that ecosystem because if I get everyone on one show, and maybe that's good for the people that don't have enough time to watch a lot of wrestling like I do. I'm purely speaking from my standpoint. I like the carrot of if I want to watch LA Knight, I have to tune in on Friday Night SmackDown. If I want to watch
Karrion Kross, you gotta watch Monday Night Raw. Yeah.
Yes, sure.
Yeah.
I like the brand split.
There's someone out there that loves Karrion Kross more than me. Okay.
Maybe
you need to acknowledge that fan because they exist. There's someone that's right now listening and they hear you besmirch Karrion, they're gonna get up and leave. Just like the person did at the panel. That's what's just gonna happen. I just feel like if I'm a fan and I buy a ticket to the show, which you say that you know you're just extras, but if I buy a ticket to the show, I kind of want to see everybody. Like, dude,
you do kind of get that though, because the house show, the dark matches are people from the other shows.
Most of the time, you hope so.
You hope
Cody,
so.
You hope Cody wrestles. You hope Roman wrestles. But I just let me get more bang for my buck, dude. You guys are making a lot of money today. It cost me a lot of money to go to the show, and I feel like the live, like the television programs. I mean, I like the idea of a floating champion. If they could do that more, that'd be great. It works for the women's tag team division. It kept that belt alive. Where I put it on Jade and Bianca, why not have United States title float every now and then? The IC title go every now. Just a special one-off,
Yeah,
dude.
I think there's an argument to be made for both sides. Like I'm not completely dismissing you. I think that there's a good case for both sides. I will say, like, when I see, and this would be different because you could have IC, if you had like the two mid-card titles float between two shows, right? Like, oh, now the Intercontinental Championship is on Raw and Intercontinental Championship SmackDown, blah,
right.
blah, blah, blah. What if it doesn't, it actually, your example of look at the women's tag team titles, I feel like that's actually the worst example, because when they leave SmackDown, then the women's tag team division on SmackDown is dead. And like vice versa, when they go over to do a program over on SmackDown, then the tag team division on Monday Night Raw is just dead. That's kind of the problem with a floating champion that doesn't have like the counterpart to it.
Well, I think my counterpoint to that is like, is LA Knight ever going to be undisputed champion?
What is that? How is that your counterpoint? That seems like an entirely new point.
If he stays on SmackDown as United States champion and he doesn't have the ability to float, doesn't have the ability to go anywhere else, his only path to a greater championship is undisputed with the brand split.
Sure.
So I don't think that's like his only chances to get the world
Not
title.
true, man. There's Money in the Bank. There is Royal Rumbles. There is King of the Rings. There is, if you're a big enough name like Randy Orton, you can just say, Gunther, we're gonna have a program for a month. So there are one-offs, dude. There are one-offs.
It's just the when you have like the Cody Rhodes and the Romans, and it's the same thing with Rhea and Liv, dude. There's that echelons that it's just padlocked up there, man.
Sure.
It's hard for that surprise out of nowhere Mankind experience to come out of nowhere to win the title.
That's why nowadays it is more important than ever that those mid-card titles are as healthy as they are, right?
Right. I mean, like, for example, Jey Uso, would you accept it, Jey Uso's first title to be the heavyweight title against Gunther? Or do you think this IC title is perfect for main event Jey for the 14-year?
I would have accepted Jey Uso as World Heavyweight Champion in his first match against Damian Priest, because that was Damian Priest still hadn't sold anybody yet. Damian Priest was still in prove it mode. So that would have been the right opponent where everybody would have been like, good choice. We sacrificed Damian Priest, but he hadn't really made anything of himself just yet. But then Damian Priest, of course, went on to become like a really great champion. That it was right there. That was the perfect opportunity if you wanted to make Jey Uso's first title the World Heavyweight title. The landscape now with Gunther and with Cody Rhodes as champion, the right call is the IC Championship.
Okay. And the same question for you about LA Knight. I mean, we joked LA Knight had an opportunity against Roman way too early. But they're like, that was not the time.
Would your mind change if I all of a sudden, instead of Jey Uso at Backlash, had it been Damian Priest versus LA Knight for the World Heavyweight Championship? I think you would say that would have been a perfect place for LA Knight to win the World Heavyweight Championship, don't you think?
Absolutely. Yeah. It is kind of interesting how both, but it's always interesting as well that both Jey and LA Knight are almost one and the same.
Yeah.
In a sense, right?
Yeah.
They're kind of like the same kind of character, cut from the same rug, as they would say. Like, I think if they became tag team champions, that'd be fun.
That'd be huge.
It'd be a fun little like stop for that title, and it'd be a great way to get the belts off the bloodline. But I'm speaking hyperbolic here, right? I'm putting on my little.
You're kind of spitting. I didn't hate that because they both have problems with the bloodline.
They do.
I kind of vibed with that, bro.
It would be like bloodline, like, all right, LA Knight, but I mean, you have to get the title off LA Knight. But the point is like, hey, we're going to challenge you. You pick it and go, all right, I got somebody.
Do you? What if it was a mid-card two-man power trip? Both mid-card champions with the tag titles.
Wow. Just drape with gold back and forth. While we're talking about LA Knight, I feel like there's a weird cloud around him right now. Like it's weird in the Glaze factory, you know? Something's off.
There's a
I can't put
tanginess to the glaze.
I can't put my finger on it, but there's something wrong with the recipe that's happening with LA Knight.
It was the
And
weird Andrade moment.
it was that, and then they had to justify it by saying, Andrade didn't like the fist bump, which I feel like there is something there a little bit, but it's more of like when Carmelo versus Andrade were cooking. I'm like, great, this is a fantastic feud. This can go long. I absolutely love it. I want to see it best of 7, but when they put LA Knight in there and he tainted Game 6,
Agreed.
I'm like, ooh. I'd rather have it where LA Knight was the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, where like all of a sudden, ding, 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 Andrade's hand raised, and it's like, yeah, and then boom, LA Knight's music hits, and he's like, I want to give you a title shot. I respected you, whatever. This is your opportunity. I want to get the best of SmackDown. You, Andrade, are the best of the best. Let's go ahead and go. I would have been forward. But now they put this weird kind of vibe with LA Knight, and he doesn't seem like he's the cool guy in the room right now.
You're spitting again, man. You're 100% right here. I said that the beauty of the Andrade and Carmelo Hayes feud up to Game 6 was that every match was just determined by who was the better man that night.
It was pure.
And Game 6 was the first one of those that was not determined by who was the better man. And now it's tainted. You're right. It is not that I don't want to see Game 7, but you've changed the rules of the game a bit. You changed what the expectation of, like, I just want to see who's the best tonight. And I didn't get that because of LA Knight. And I think that that's part of maybe the reason why you're feeling a little bit off on LA Knight. I think he was inserted into this a tad bit too early, but I think you can still salvage the recipe here.
Do you feel that the WWE feels pressure about making LA Knight still a thing, in a sense of due to age, due to like his popularity and how a little bit mishandled he was when his rise? I feel like right now, like Triple H is in a tough spot because he wants to give LA Knight more shine, but there's really nothing for him to do right now.
Yeah.
So they inserted him early, like you mentioned, into Andrade Carmelo when he didn't really need to be inserted. He could have just been like a guy who just runs around and causes havoc in a fun way, like a Stone Cold maybe. But I don't know. It just feels like a LA Knight there's nothing for him to do, so they put him in this weird spot.
Yeah, I think it's I think it's a combination of different things. I don't think it's an age thing. I think they take it as they have it at the moment. And I feel like they're inserting him in this because they know that the world title is so locked down in its own storyline that no one can transition up and down. So if you want to have multiple superstars be having matches for stakes, then that's where LA Knight comes in to give that extra feeling of we're fighting for something as opposed to fighting for nothing feel. And maybe that's why LA Knight was inserted into this a tad bit early. It's possible.
Let me spew some history here as someone who's been managing this glaze factory since its inauguration. Do you remember when LA Knight was like the third wheel to the Bloodline storyline, like the little brother with Randy and Cody, and he was like, "Hey guys, we're gonna have this fight," and I feel that they don't want LA Knight to have that feeling again, and that's why he's no longer around the Bloodline. But it's strange to me as someone who's grown up in the Attitude Era, and correct me if the Ruthless Aggression era was not like this, where the top face of said program would not try to help other baby faces in turmoil against the top heels. Like, why is not LA Knight running in to help Kevin Owens and Randy? Why isn't LA Knight helping Cody, right? It's like,
why isn't Jey Uso helping Damian Priest when he's getting beat up?
He did, but he does. He stepped in as a partner.
Last episode, he didn't.
Why wasn't Randy? When Kevin Owens needed a partner, why wasn't it LA Knight? And I get why it's Randy, right? I get it. He's part of the bigger Cody verse. But I'm just saying, it's just strange to me when the top babyface doesn't get involved in other people's business.
I'm fine with LA Knight, just frankly being out of the Bloodline stuff. He always just felt off.
He did little brother. He was a little brother.
Yeah, when it was Randy and AJ Styles and LA Knight, I was like,
and the fact that he didn't get picked to be in the Survivor Series, I was like, oh.
Exactly. So I'm okay with it. I prefer LA Knight being fully focused on his thing. And LA Knight has never been a Batman, right? He's never been a hero where he goes out of his way. He's
It's like a Venom, like a Casey
I think
Jones.
Venom's probably a good way to put it, right? Where he's selfish. LA Knight is a selfish guy.
For sure.
That's his character. He cares about himself. He cares about his matches, his storylines, his feuds. He doesn't really step in to be this greater hero. So I'm okay with it, actually. I am.
Oh, I am. I'm just like I say, it is not, it's not past me that I feel that there's something wrong or amiss.
Well,
in the
maybe it's
Glazed
because there's just so much intricacy with what's going on in the Bloodline storyline. We look at Randy Orton, right? Maybe you mentioned that you think that he might be the mastermind, the one puppeteering things. Tell me a little bit more about that theory.
Looking,
what do you got cooking?
This is not just a theory; it's a game theory. Okay,
let's game theory. R.I.P. Mad Pat.
He's not dead. He's just retired. What's wrong with you? He's around. He's just retired. I think it is on purpose that Randy Orton, because like literally in the backstage segment where Kevin Owens is saying like, dude, I don't want to talk to you right now. He tells Cody right in his face, do not come to the ring. And literally Kevin Owens, who's probably standing off camera, walks out of the room and Randy goes like, hey man, we need you out there. Like he literally, Kevin, you just were there. It'd be different. The reason why I said it'd be different if it was a separate scene, right? Kevin Owens went to Cody, and then later Randy was like, "Hey, just to let you know." I think that Randy Orton is purposely triggering Kevin Owens and Cody. He's lighting the fuse between those two so that he could get rid of Kevin Owens to clear the path for him to go after Cody. Because if Cody Rhodes currently on SmackDown, which doesn't have LA Knight in his back corner, there's the only two people who are in his corner are Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. If Randy Orton had to attack Cody, Kevin Owens would be the one to stop it and get in the way. How do you get rid of Kevin Owens? Make him hate Cody, giving you a clear path to go after Cody Rhodes and that undisputed title.
I look at this match that's currently announced for Bad Blood, recording this before Bad Blood, Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns versus Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. And I kind of am looking at this two sides. If we're trying to set up a battle for the Ula Fala between Roman and Solo, if we're trying to set up Jacob to be this unstoppable monster, potential final boss feeling for Roman Reigns, if we're trying to set up a powerful Temu bloodline feel going into bloodline Civil War games, they can't lose. Roman nor Cody are going to get pinned. To me, in my predictions, I said I'm going to pull out of the bag the screwy disqualification finish. I think that's when Kevin Owens snaps in this match. This could be a disqualification of Kevin Owens, maybe even Randy Orton turning on Cody Rhodes and causing this match to end in a disqualification.
Both turn at the same time?
I kind of like the idea of just both of them just snapping.
So then Cody is on an island by himself with Randy and Kevin Owens.
Yep.
And you want Cody to beat both Kevin Owens and Randy, or you want them to have a triple threat and then Randy wins, therefore being undisputed title, therefore
bringing
the clear lane for time to land, John. Here, take out Randy. That's what you want. I know that's what you want.
This is not the greater conspiracy theory to have John Cena become the 17th.
Yes, it is. It is. Yeah, I can believe you have Kevin Owens turn, but not both Randy and Kevin. I want Randy to turn, but be the master puppeteer.
Maybe. I just don't look. The greater point here is that I don't think this match ends in anyone winning. I think that Kevin Owens interrupts the match and it's a disqualification because they didn't make this bloodline rules. They didn't make this anything with a stipulation, so it can end in a disqualification. And I think Kevin Owens is the great catalyst to protect both sides. Because again, I don't see Cody or Roman taking a pin here. I cannot see the bloodline losing this. If you got bigger plans for them, I can't see them losing this.
Oh, so what you want is a referee to do something a referee has never done before. All of a sudden, he hears there's a problem in concessions, leaves the ring, goes up.
The hot dogs are too cold.
He's out there looking at the hot dogs. He's like, wait a minute, I can figure this out. Meanwhile, you have Roman pinning Jacob Fatu. The referee's like, wait.
The hot dogs.
We need to figure this out.
Where's the mustard?
Why does Triple H has done this twice? Twice.
It's bad.
And that Bronson Reed and Braun Strowman, I was like, why do we need, like, let the ref take a bump? Did they just had a meeting and the ref's like, we're not taking bumps anymore?
The refs union.
Yeah, the ref's like, we're not taking bumps anymore. Because I'm like, what is this ref? I understand, like, it was kind of cool to see, like, I guess they had these stunt people because there was, like, different shapes of fans out there for that double barricade spot. But I'm like, what are you doing out there, ref? There's nothing you need to be doing out there. I was like, what are you doing, Santi? Like,
Santi.
But yeah, there was like, it's a weird thing to have the referee to be that's an interesting notion there. I mean, that's always a question going forward. So you think that if someone gets pinned in that tag match, that the person who got pinned is weaker? Because Cody got pinned by The Rock. I don't think Cody came off as weaker.
I get it, but the idea, yes, he did. They were doing it on purpose because you wanted Cody to feel like he was going up against the odds, overcoming the odds at Bloodline for Bloodline rules in the main event. So I disagree. I think that the intention was to make Cody weaker.
How does he do that? He has forearms without going out, right?
It's gotta be Bloodline rules. Anyways, the intention was to make Cody weaker.
A string doll. We need to turn you into a string doll. all the catchphrases.
Cody, they're actually trying to make him look the opposite of weak right now. They're trying to make him stand tall with Roman Reigns, like, I'm the one that's been running the show. If he gets pinned, doesn't really work. Roman getting pinned just is this like monumental moment that I just don't see it happening on a Bad Blood, right? Which is why I don't see either of them. It just doesn't work right now for either of their storylines, for either of them to eat a pin. And it definitely does not benefit the Bloodline right now for them to be taking a pin right now. That's why I think I'm expecting a screwy finish. Frankly, in my world, this match doesn't happen at Bad Blood. It happens in Saudi Arabia because this like kind of like crazy super team seems to be more like a Saudi fan fiction that you could just make for a Saudi show. So that there isn't any discussion about what should be main eventing, because it should be Drew and CM Punk. It shouldn't be this. I really don't. If it is this, it's because of the star power, not because it's earned the main event, like Drew McIntyre and CM Punk, in my opinion, frankly has. They should have added Sammy versus Gunther to Bad Blood, and this tag main event, this tag match should have been at Crown Jewel. It fits more of a Crown Jewel vibe, does it not? That exhibition feel that Crown Jewel and those Saudi shows sometimes don't feel like fully canon. You can do a bit wackier things, like LA Knight getting a world title opportunity way too early.
What's that wacky?
It was pretty wacky waving inflatable arm flailing too, man. They have LA Knight out there, all right? He was too early in that. It just feels like Saudi vibes. It does feel like Saudi vibes.
You're counting out the biggest elephants in the Bloodline room. Just sitting there, menacingly, waiting. No! Chomping at the bit, waiting, just biding his time to go and collect checks left and right, my guy. And that is the final boss is no doubt right around the corner, dude. And what a perfect place for The Rock to come out to make his now look at that, gives himself his own POV. Jeez.
Oh god.
I've
ruined the podcast.
Wow. Great with his lonely John Cena hat back there. Yeah, why not The Rock and Atlanta, Georgia, dude? Making a comeback.
If The Rock comes back, that's huge, obviously.
And The Rock in a War Game Survivor Series match? Oh my god.
And that's the thing. You could get away with The Rock in a War Games match because he could just be the last entrant, right? He could be in there for literally 8 minutes of the match.
Probably take a crazy gnarly bump. Moonsault off the top. I don't know.
The Rock does a shooting star press.
I mean, dude, and Braun Strowman did a flying press out of nowhere like that. I can't believe no one like got squashed to oblivion when Braun Strowman jumped off that way. Dude, that's a lot of gravity mass coming down on him.
That is a nearly 400-pound man that was coming down on them. That's crazy. God. That is insane. I think they said he was 375?
So the top of him is like at least 20 foot tall, standing on that ring post, right?
I think so.
Jeez. And the fact that Bronson Reed almost won after all that. Oh my goodness, dude. Hey, shout out to Seth Rollins for getting up there, dude, with his new knee, getting able to hit that curb stomp really smoothly.
A beautiful
very
curb stomp. What a sell from
Be-
Bronson too.
I know,
Bronson
it's
looked
fitting.
dead. Bronson
He
looked
had
dead.
snot and everything.
Yeah.
Looked like he had little allergies. It was really good. I have great things for Bronson Reed. Where does that go down? That this is not a Survivor Series match, is it?
Ooh, what Bronson versus
Seth Rollins.
It could be. Why not? Why not?
For the number one contender? That'd be
Just
interesting.
no, they just hate each other. Why not?
Another just because they hate each other, huh?
Why not? I mean, look,
Why not?
sometimes that works, and it can be an awesome feud and an awesome PLE worthy match. It's not landing for me right now with Damian Priest and Finn Balor. I just don't think that they've done a good enough job after what happened at SummerSlam.
Too much Dom. Dom is just too good to be real for you. It's like
The forbidden fruit.
look. When we post things, and I don't know, I'm speaking for myself. The most dominant thing view-wise is Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley.
Pretty
They just
regularly.
dominate everything. Millions of views, like potential for each one of their segments. And when Finn Balor cuts a promo and he's like, all right, we're going back to Damian Priest, and you're like, all right, dude, we get it. You hate the guy. There's nothing more that we can do here. But I feel like it is a problem of the fracturing the Judgment Days centering around a relationship. When it could have just been Damian Priest could have stayed with Judgment Day and they could have just let these three deal with their own internal house problems. But I don't know, man. I had high hopes for Finn Balor. If you would ask me before 2024, like who are you investing your stock in? I put a lot of stock in Finn Balor for the heavyweight title and for him to be the leader, so to speak, and not going anywhere. There's a lot of people having this weird rumor mill that Raquel is going to be inserted somewhere, and I'm like, no, I don't see it.
No, I do. Can I plead the case?
Oh, okay. Please,
Yeah, I'll plead the case.
Help me see the lights.
Yeah. You talked about how Dom can't get physical with Rhea Ripley, right? It can't go that way. So, and I think that this is a fundamental problem with the feud in Liv Morgan as a champion, is that she just cannot physically stand to Rhea Ripley. When Rhea Ripley comes running after her, what does Liv Morgan do? She runs away. It's literally the only thing that she could realistically do, because Rhea Ripley's a monster, right? Dom can't stand up for her because of obviously the implications that would create. Male violence on female, it just wouldn't look right, and it just wouldn't be right.
It's not what the WWE does.
Correct.
In the ring, yes.
Raquel can be what allows Liv Morgan to stand toe to toe physically with Rhea Ripley in a realistic way, because Raquel Rodriguez is just as big as Rhea Ripley. Raquel Rodriguez, they never had a falling out before Raquel Rodriguez left. They were still friends. They were tag partners. They were homies. And we have this thing that Finn Balor and Liv Morgan were, if you saw at the beginning of Monday Night Raw, like, hey, the business is done. We're all good. They didn't reveal what that was on Monday Night Raw. I think Raquel makes sense here. I think Raquel allows this feud to extend further while not making it about just Dominic Mysterio, where it can just be Shawn and Diesel versus, because that's I feel like would be the closest comparison, right? Yeah. Shawn and Diesel, the bodyguard, and the champion going up against whoever it is that they're going up against, the big baddie here for them being Rhea Ripley. I think that that's what gives this story legs without it just being Dominic Mysterio.
It'd be interesting. I mean, Raquel's going through a lot, and I love Raquel. And Raquel versus Rhea, I said it was Brett and Shawn. Yeah, they have that chemistry. Sure. They have great chemistry.
They do have great chemistry. You're right.
They do have great chemistry. I wonder if they could put they have to. I mean, from what I understand, her ailment is not only a physical appearance thing, but it's like physically painful.
Sure,
what she goes through. Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine it, but for her to make a return at Bad Blood would be great, and it extends this even further.
When Raquel was still with on WWE programming, her last major feud was Rhea Ripley. She was Rhea Ripley was still heel as far as she was concerned. So they can just come back still on opposite ends, and it would make sense narratively. It would be a character that has history with both Rhea and Liv Morgan. I'm good with it. To me, it makes sense.
The Hana Slam, such a good finish.
Such a good move. Such a good move. She's so underrated, dude. So underrated.
Can we both agree you're the conductor and I'm the conductor of the Raquel train together.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
we'll make a quick stop at the New Day train. You can say, Santi, you can get on there.
I-
We'll see you at WrestleMania,
Santi,
and then I'll be on the
Santi.
New Day train going chugga chugga chugga
Sa-
chugga chugga chugga
No, it's
chugga
dugga dugga
chugga
dugga
chugga
dugga
chugga
dugga.
chugga chugga chugga.
Santi, I realize after all this time that I may have been wrong, and I should not be gatekeeping you. And at this moment, how long we've been recording these podcasts? Almost a year now.
Over a year.
Over a year. You're still banned.
I fucking knew it. I knew it. I knew you were baiting me. I hate
What's
you.
left on the docket here? Where do you see the Miz going? The heel Miz. I mean, we kind of skated real quick. I'm for one all about it.
Yeah.
You think R-Truth and Miz get a blow off at PLE, or is this going to stay on television? It could be just a television thing, right?
It could be just a television thing, unless
Yes.
this is how you reintroduce Cena, like one of the Cena pit stops. Look, no, why do you groan at that? The Miz and Cena have had 2 WrestleMania matches against one another. It is one of Cena's biggest.
I'm not groaning at
You
that. I
groan.
hate that you're out. No, I hate that you're. I'm groaning that you're right. Like, oh, you're right.
But why? But you groan. Why are you groaning about me being right?
Because it's
You
annoying
groaned.
how right you are.
Groaned.
It's annoying how right you are all the time. Can you take a day off from being? Well, you did. You did take a day off.
And then Jey Uso wins the Intercontinental Championship. I think this is an easy place to reinsert
like
Cena
Yeah,
without it, like
yeah.
world titles. Let's go after that immediately.
Yeah.
You could have a quick PLE cycle with The Miz, R-Truth being saved by his childhood hero. Come on, that's perfect. Like actually perfect. That's where I could see, and it could lead to maybe like a new feud. Maybe it's Cena carrying Cross at some point. Carrying Cross trying to get like the Cena. Hey, Cena, don't you think that it's kind of crazy that you're this legend and half the people say that you suck? I don't think that you suck, Cena. I think that you're one of the best of all time. Don't you think it's pretty messed up that half the people think that you suck?
After all you gave to this business, John, look at you. You're so happy. You're like, yeah, Karrion Kross could be with John Cena, and I would.
No, I don't want that. I'm trolling. I don't want to see that.
I don't think you are. You just manifested it. All of a sudden, Paul Levesque goes, wait, Karrion Kross, John Cena, writes it in.
No, but jokes aside, if you want to do new things for Cena along the way out, Karrion is a new thing. I'm not saying it's a good thing. It's a new thing.
What's funny is because you hate that you're right and you don't want to be right about this, but
I know. It's gonna be Cena Karrion Kross.
You're gonna see Karrion Kross walk up to him with his hands in his jeans.
Hey, John.
Hey. Yeah, hey.
Thanks for coming back, man. I think it's pretty incredible what you've done in your career, but don't you think it's pretty messed up that after everything that you've given all of these people, you heard Cena sucks at every arena that you went to? I think that's pretty messed up, John.
And
anyways, bye, John.
Toodaloo. You know what's funny is you don't like Karrion Kross, yet you know Karrion Kross so well. So why do you hate him?
I don't hate him. You're creating this narrative that I hate him.
I'm not.
I have not liked the recent storylines.
So Santi, seems like you hate Karrion Kross.
It doesn't seem like you're correct. It seems like you're jumping to conclusions.
I don't know.
Anyways,
I haven't seen you post about Karrion Kross.
What do you need me to do? Just expose my love for Karrion Kross on Twitter?
I mean, you make a lot of videos. You could post a daily video about Karrion Kross.
About just daily Karrion Kross videos. That's it. That's all.
I mean, you run your own channel, right? You could.
I do
definitely do that with a thumbnail artist and
absolutely kill my YouTube channel.
Oh, I wouldn't say so.
It definitely would. It definitely would.
Maybe you make a Karrion Kross video. Maybe you back on the train.
You're blackmailing me. This is actual blackmail.
No,
and I would make this video, and you'd be like, "Still off the train."
Mickey Mouse in this situation.
Yes, you are. You're evil corporate Sancho right now. Evil corporate Mickey Mouse.
I'm the rat.
Yes, that's you. Vince documentary.
Santi, yes.
Vince documentary.
The Evil Corporation.
Have you seen it?
I kind of hinted at it at the very beginning of the show some odd hours ago, an hour and a half ago. No, I didn't see it. I know a lot already that's been already told in the documentary. But mainly, frankly, I'm not a fan of Netflix documentaries. Netflix documentaries are too strung out. They're too like they could get everything done in like 2 episodes if they really wanted to. There's just a lot of filler and a lot of junk just to get to the point, and I don't like that. And I don't like being strung along when it comes to a documentary of this magnitude, and especially something that hits close as a WWE fan. I don't like that, right? And I try to watch a lot of documentary series from Netflix. I love Tiger King. Like Tiger King, I think was great, and I think Netflix tries to recapture that lightning in the bottle with Tiger King and drawn out these things like Max. HBO has this thing with a monkey, a chimp, something like that, and I just don't like these way of telling these stories like true crime and all that kind of stuff. I kind of burned myself out to it. But then I heard a lot of it's stuff that already people know about the WWE and the Vince era and the scandals and the steroid era, the steroid issues, controversy, and all the storylines that are involving his family members and Shane McMahon not getting his father's love, like all that stuff you kind of know. And I don't know. 6 hours is a lot for me to digest, considering that I do a lot of stuff for the Patreon as well off the podcast. So, no, to answer your question, how about you?
I've seen it. I finished it, and I don't think I was the target demo because the end goal of that documentary is like, look at the crazy thing that Vince built by being an asshole. And then at the end of it, I was like, I already knew that. I already knew he was kind of a jerk. That he was a ruthless business guy. I already knew that.
Yep.
There was nothing like new that came out. I will say the first 5 episodes.
First 5?
Yeah, the first 5 is like a cool chronology of the entire wrestling business, seeing it go from the territories to the modern day. It was cool seeing like the progression of the business. From that perspective, it was actually enjoyable TV. I was just like let down because I had this feeling, like Vince McMahon making this like statement that like the documentary made him seem like he was worse than he actually was, that Mr. McMahon was his real version of himself. And I just figured that, oh my God, that with the allegations, this is going to be like something scathing. This was like the biggest softball ever. The allegations, the 2022 stuff that of course seeped into 2023 and is still ongoing. It's like the last 30 minutes of the whole doc, man. Like they barely talk about it. They barely touch on it. And I called it. I had a feeling like Netflix is not going to railroad a $5 billion investment with this documentary. They just weren't. There was no way with Raw going and all of WWE worldwide going to Netflix as early as January. There's just no way that was going to happen. What was interesting was when my girlfriend would like be kind of hanging around watching bits and pieces with me, and she'd be like, he did what? And like to me, I was like, yeah, like that's just Vince. But like to hear the perspective of a non-wrestling fan, hearing all of these deplorable business tactics that Vince McMahon would do and hearing their reaction was kind of sobering. I was like, oh, I shouldn't be having these normal reactions. I just do because I'm a wrestling fan that just already knows this stuff and is kind of just used to living with this information. But for people outside of the wrestling bubble, Vince McMahon as a business person is a crazy psychotic human.
I think where Vince McMahon up to the Attitude Era wasn't really a character on TV. It was Stone Cold that brought out this Mr. McMahon persona where Vince made a lot of money, where he was this guy that was forefront, this very evil boss, and then you had Stone Cold, the blue collar guy, breaking him down every week, and that worked. And I think what ended up happening was he tried to recapture Lightning Bottle over and over again and kept getting deeper and digging into stranger storylines and controversial storylines because he was feeling the pressure of the WCW, man. Ted Turner backing WCW with Scott Hall, with Kevin Nash, with Hulk Hogan, with Sting, with Ric Flair, with Bret Hart. Like there were so many things that they were pushed, like literally WCW was winning at one point, and all the WWE had to do was just hold down the fort because WCW was winning but losing, right? It was like the Michael Scott Paper Company. You're making money, but you're losing money so much more. You're hemorrhaging money. So that's to me where I feel like where Vince spun out of control. And what's interesting is now that you told me about the 5 hours, the 5 episodes to 30 minutes, is like they weren't making this documentary with that in mind. And when all these allegations came out, especially the big one, they had to pivot, and it was just not enough time to pivot. And then some other cut is a more positive viewing, like Mr. McMahon, the character, is this wild guy, but Vince McMahon built this successful business that will forever stand the test of time. What was the lasting message that the documentary wanted to tell the viewer, even if it wasn't targeted to you?
It was a messy one because the first 5 episodes was look at this crazy business, look at this larger than life Mr. McMahon character juxtaposed with like the Vince McMahon. Oh, is Vince McMahon and Mr. McMahon the same person? I feel like that was the original message of like, look how the lines aren't actually that hard. Like they're pretty blurred between the two. I feel like that was the original message. And then they lost it in the last like episode because they tried to pivot last minute by adding an extra episode about the allegation. And then I kind of like lost the message of what they were going for. So I actually like from an informational standpoint, the first 5 episodes are just like interesting wrestling history. But the end goal of the documentary, it was a softball. It was weak. If it was meant to make Vince McMahon be out to be this horrible guy, I think they actually did a really poor job. They could have gone so much harder to the point where I feel like they had the kitty gloves on him. I feel like they went easy on him.
I feel like that documentary that you're looking for will come out when this case is settled.
Not on Netflix.
Not on Netflix.
Not on Netflix. There's no way.
If someone in my chat, I get in my watch parties constantly ask me, "Are you going to watch it?" And I go, like, if it was Vice that was doing this, yes.
Here's the thing: like, this documentary that documentary with the level, because you gotta remember, man. Like in this documentary, they had Cena, The Rock, The Undertaker, Stone Cold, Vince McMahon. They had Hogan. They had everybody that matters. Vice or anybody else comes along to make the Mr. McMahon documentary after the case actually ends, none of them are going to agree to do it. None of them are going to agree to do it.
You're going to get the Jim Rosses, the Jim Cornettes, the other type of side of the coin.
You're going to get the ones where people are like, well, you had something against Vince to begin with. It was poor timing, honestly. Like I maybe not even poor timing. I just don't think you get these people had the Vince McMahon allegations been out. Like I don't see The Rock and Cena absolutely attaching themselves to a Vince McMahon project had it not been before the major allegations.
There is a documentary on HBO that they did where the guy was I forget what it was called, in chat may correct me, but it was about a guy that the Jinx. You ever heard of this one? The Jinx. The Jinx is about a guy named from Robert Durst who is known to be tied to a lot of people be murdered, right? He's like, people mysteriously died around.
Oh, like the Jinx is like an actual like a moniker. Okay.
Right. That's what they call it. But in this documentary, they're just trying to cover it. They uncover that he kind of confesses to it during like he was mic'd up and he went to the bathroom and he was like, "Oh my God, I got caught!" Right? It's a huge reveal, and I feel that it kind of reminds me of this documentary because this whole time the documentary is built up to be like, "Hey, this guy's kind of unique. He's a little eccentric. He has these relationships, and they all go awry." And you get it from his POV, and he's the one that's being interviewed. And all of a sudden, boom, like a big old reveal happens, and they uncovered it, and they have to pivot. And I feel like if they would have approached it in this way, the Vince McMahon documentary, like the Jinx, I think you get a bigger impact. But it's interesting to see that it wasn't that. I mean, I recommend it. You should definitely check it out. It's on HBO. Highly recommend the Jinx.
It'd be interesting, like if you have somebody in your household that isn't a wrestling fan, like if they're willing to give it the time of day, like look at their reactions, because I feel like you'll be pretty, as a wrestling fan, you'll be pretty jaded at like some of like the crazy business things from the past that they go over.
It's embarrassing. Like truthfully, is the Attitude Era is embarrassing. Like you gotta acknowledge that not only like we talked about the Divas division, but what they did to the women in the Divas, what they did to anyone of color in that era, I mean, the stuff that they got away with, the stuff that Vince did with his own family, it's borderline embarrassing. It's
That
very
was the stuff
embarrassing.
my girlfriend was appalled at. They made that girl bark, talking about like the Trish Stratus stuff,
Stratus,
like
right.
the whole like Linda McMahon
And
is sedated. That's so weird,
and the
man.
one thing about it is when you remove yourself from it, you just the reason why we bought it because we were like, it's Vince McMahon, the Mr. McMahon guy. It's the heel. He's a heel. He will always get his comeuppance, and Vince did. Like let's kind of pull back a little bit. Vince did get his comeuppance. Vince did get his head shaved by Trump, right? There's those moments that Vince would always lose at the end of the day, but he did some heinous things to build up the face. But the biggest issue was the win sometimes wasn't as big as the humiliation.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
Those humiliation moments were just so strong and so glaring that if you weren't a Stone Cold, you weren't going to get the ultimate win against Vince. Trish Stratus, I don't think ever got the ultimate win against Vince. Maybe
she slapped him at WrestleMania.
Right. Slapped him. That's not a big thing. I mean, but let's like I said, it was a product of its time. It didn't age well, and it should be studied, not revered to the point where, you know, I still think in today's wrestling, we're still learning. We're still getting better, and we're still figuring things out. I'm just happy that they dropped this authority figure character because you limit yourself so much when it's authority versus X person. Mm-hmm. Like, imagine if Triple H was an authority still, you'd be like, ugh. You know? I like the idea of the guy who was booking everything is celebrated. Like, dude, thank you so much for this awesome wrestling story that you're giving us. You're awesome. Versus like, boo, you suck.
Mm. I recommend it as a, like, if you've got extra time to watch it, but
6 hours is a lot of extra time, brother.
Yeah, like I don't think that this is anything that you need to go out of your way to watch. I just don't think that.
Is it a good folding clothes documentary?
That's I mean, I used it as like I'm having lunch documentary.
Okay.
So, anyways,
you had a steak. You had a big steak.
Big old. That was me during the last Monster Standing, just eating meat, watching meat, slap on meat.
Do you want to see them go again, like Bronson Reed versus Braun Strowman? Is that done? Is it over?
I think it's done. I feel like the magic they accomplished it. I'm good. Like I don't need a sequel. This was awesome in every way, shape, or form.
I think the last question I have before we get to New Heat Order is, does Braun Strowman turn into a Big Show? He's on the cusp of this. Come on, dude. He is basically a Big Show-like character. One day he's heel, one day he's face.
I guess he could be. I think he's better in every way, shape, or form than the Big Show, though.
But when you boil him down,
yeah, he could play the Big Show, like the stand-in, like what they use Big Show for. But it's just that every time they use Big Show is boring and groan-inducing. That doesn't have to be the case with Braun Strowman.
You thought Braun was going to be boring when you got inserted to Bronson.
And I was wrong, and I'm happy to admit that. You know what? I'm not going to admit anything about Karrion Kross's storylines being good. I want to admit that.
Someone please mark this down, because when Karrion does come out to John Cena, I want to know what your reaction is.
Am I going to be allowed on that train? It's my train. It's the Cena train. Would I be allowed on it?
No, you know what? I'm not going to. I think right now, I am, like I said, I am not the gatekeeper here. I think that people speak for themselves. I see in all your comments that you're not allowed. So the people are doing their job. Shout outs to the people on Instagram who do the job the best. All you TikTokers and all your Twitch stream, you got to lay more into Santi, because he's not allowed to post anything about Karrion Kross.
The top comment in my Instagram for those who are always like, not allowed.
My job is done. I like Karrion Kross. My job is done. I don't have to do any more work. I don't have to ban you. You could go ahead. You could write it. But we're all going to know. When we look over in our first class, we're all going to know. We're going to look at you like, this guy never was one of us. He was a bandwagoner.
You know what it is? It's going to be like in the Titanic when everyone's looking at the one guy that's not supposed to be on the life raft. Like, hey, you were supposed to go down with the ship.
You're that guy. You're Billy Zane right now. I have a child. No, you don't. You don't have a child. You son of a butch. That's you.
New Heat Order.
New heat order, folks. It is hot times, daddy, down here at the new heat order. Hot times with the graphics because this is on new.
It's pathetic. It's pathetic graphics.
This is what we have here, the hot times. But the new heat order, for those of you who know, is the hotness, the buzz, all the excitement, the draw that we all see, the favorite superstars, WWE wise. And one day when the Wrestling is Cool podcast network,
A network.
a little Triple H, little sprinkling, Triple H.
Then, now, forever.
I was wrong. Triple H still has that ego, right? He has to be the one that says it, right?
Yes.
All right. Do you ever think he goes into a montage like this needs more Triple H?
This needs more the game.
the game. All right. So going into this week, we had Jey Uso at number 1, Roman Reigns at number 2, number 3, Cody Rhodes, number 4, Xavier Woods, number 5, Kevin Owens, number 6, Braun Breaker, number 7, Bronson Reed, number 8, Braun Strowman, number 9, American Made, number 10, Tonga.
I'm gonna just say this, all right?
Yeah.
Seth Rollins, Bronson Reed, Braun Strowman.
No, whoa, slow your roll. How dare you put Seth Rollins above Bronson Reed? No.
You think Bronson gets the nod?
Yes.
All right,
Double
fine. I'm okay with it.
Death Valley driver into the table outside
right.
the arena, into a double tsunami, into the broken
Just
ring
returns
spot.
usually are very high on our list.
My ass.
All right, fine. Bronson. Do you want to do Bronson, Braun, and then Seth? Give the two big meaty men their spot at 1, 2?
I'm going to give it Seth 2.
Okay.
Because it's the feud of Bronson Reed and Seth Rollins that gets me excited.
Sure.
I still sort of see Braun Strowman like a Big Show.
Okay.
Not a negative way.
Okay.
In a good way. Well, it's a Braun Strowman. Nah, let's see. I can't believe you hated Big Show.
I as a kid, every time I was like, oh God.
When he had his knockout punch, I think that's when I was like, oh man, why can't you do a chokeslam anymore? You have to do that knockout punch because he has that big meaty fist. That would suck to get hit with that big meaty fist.
Big Show just sucks, man. Like from when I was a kid, I was like, oh, look at this great Brock Lesnar storyline that's going on with The Undertaker. Brock won the storyline. What's next? Well, where is the... Oh, come on.
You know what would be great in this feud? Big Show. There's that one guy in the meeting. They go, how do you have this job WWE? Oh, it's great. All I do every couple of weeks, I go, you know what would be great? Let's put in the Big Show.
Put in the Big Show.
And Vince is like, that's a great job
that's
over
such
there.
Good shit.
It's such good. All right. Number 4, I'm going to put Xavier Woods here again.
Yeah. I'm actually okay with Xavier Woods, Miz, kind of like boom, boom. Xavier Woods, Miz.
Oh, we didn't talk about it, and for some reason we always tend to forget to talk about it. Main Event Jey Uso had that promo, and a lot of people came into my chat, or some people came into my chat were like, "Oh, that's such an L promo." And I was like, no. The only thing that was different is I wish the details were changed. It's like, Jay, if you would have just taken off your glasses so much earlier in that promo, let me see your emotions of you struggling to put the words together, I'd be on board with you. I wouldn't think you forgot your lines, but when you hide behind sunglasses as an actor, you hide your eyes are great ways to communicate your pain, your emotions, your internal struggle. And when he was wearing those glasses, I was like, oh no, dude, take them off. And when he took them off, he finally got to the emotion that he was looking for, struggling to get to him talking about his mother, and that we did it, Mom. I still think, dude, he looked great. The gold shirt, the new belt. Oh, so much good vibes coming out of that first promo entrance as Jey Uso.
And a Braun Breaker, so many Brauns. And then a Braun Breaker babyface turn.
Yeah. Do you know what's Braun Breaker's real name?
Something Rick Steiner.
Brunson
Rick Steiner. Okay.
No, Bronson. Yeah, but isn't it interesting? It's Bronson Reed.
Oh wow, yeah. Dang.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Dang.
There's a lot going on.
They gotta have a Braun and pole match. Okay, here we go. Who's after Miz? We haven't had Bloodline. I mean, Jacob Fatu did the no sell on Randy Orton. Randy Orton and Kevin Owens beating or not losing to the Bloodline.
I mean, we
Thomas
got I mean,
Shelby,
Bloodline just in general, right? Like they won their
yeah,
match.
won their
Solo
match.
looked monstrous. We got the Bloodline in a ladder match in an upcoming
No,
show.
Tongaloa for free in a ladder match.
Yeah, dude. Oh my God. I hope he doesn't break his neck botching a move or something.
I hope the ladder doesn't no sell him or something, dude. I still think the worst ladder spot that we've ever seen in Match Club is Dean Ambrose.
Oh, that was nasty.
That
was nasty.
That was nasty. So who's at 6, man? Not on this list so far is Cody Rhodes, Roman, Jay, Braun Breaker.
I mean, I'm
Cody
gonna go to Kevin Owens. I've been really like fascinated with his whole storyline, so I'll go Kevin.
Okay. Are you fatigued on Randy Orton matches on television?
No.
No.
Are you?
Okay. No, just
okay.
Just asking a question. Don't want
I just asked it back.
No, yeah. Don't want to be kicked off Randy Orton's train.
Okay.
I love.
I love how we're both like, please don't kick me off the train.
I wonder. Let me know in the comments down below. Do you kick other friends off your train? You're like, no. You get like I don't know how we are locked into the lexicon, but when Dak Prescott told people to jump off the bandwagon, the train, I'm like, that's us. That's us.
You see that Drew McIntyre tweeted out the scene that we've been talking about for so long of him punting the dog off the bridge in Anchorman? We call that what month? Dude, that was like 6 months ago we said that. They should do something with that. Not actually punt the dog, but
we're gestation,
We're the breeding ground for WWE thoughts.
If you're a WWE wrestler watching this, just type 2 somewhere, anywhere. And we'll see it on an Instagram post somewhere. You know what I mean? Like, oh, the 2.
2.
Do it. Number 7. I kind of want to put Kofi here. Kofi had a great match with Chad Gable.
It was a good match. Good angle. The angle of it was really, really good.
The idea of Kofi giving his match to Xavier for Jey Uso, which is going to be interesting.
Yeah. What about Nia Jax, by the way?
Say that. I was going to say Nia.
I like Nia ahead of Kofi right now.
Okay, I like that idea. Nia
just slightly ahead.
Do you put any stock in Jade and Bianca right now, or Unholy
I
Union?
put higher stock on Chelsea Green and what's going on with the trash match.
You look at you, dude, working your angles to get Chelsea follow. I know you, dude. Working that.
Canadians, man, it's got to stick together.
You are trying. You are making shorts about how much you enjoy Chelsea Green.
It's gonna happen.
You even said that Chelsea Green's the best Triple H rehire. My man, working.
She's one of.
So you want to put Chelsea Green at 8?
Maybe 10.
Okay.
Give me her a 10. Give me her a 10. Okay. Give us room for 8 and 9.
I'm not going to deny you. People have been saying, Sancho, wrestling's about love. Wrestling's about not gatekeeping. Be nice, Santi.
And you're just not listening.
Oh, you did this yourself.
Don't.
This is the best part. I had no problem with this. I said, Santi, are you sure? And you're like, yeah, I don't want on this train. And then I said, you're banned.
Let's just get through this episode. Let's get through it.
Okay. Number 8, Karrion Kross.
No. Stop. No.
Number 5. What? He's on the list of the people. Number 9, Karrion Kross.
No. Okay. Stop politicking for Karrion Kross to be on this list.
Number 8, AOP.
No.
R-Truth.
AJ. Truth. Truth or AJ Styles. The AJ Styles return, hanging out in the back. You saw.
That's another. Wait, was that AJ Styles hanging out?
Everybody's like, that was AJ. That was AJ hanging behind
the suit. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It was
who was talking
in the suit?
It was somebody that was like, if that's a match. Oh, it's Sami Zayn.
Yes,
Sami Zayn's promo backstage. Come on.
Would you like AJ back in the Raw or SmackDown? He's going to come back in SmackDown, of course.
I think he's coming back on SmackDown, but I like the idea of him on Raw. Anyways, I think AJ Styles, the hype. This is Buzz, right? Hype and Buzz?
Yeah, you're right. Should it be higher than 8 then?
No, because it was just a graphic.
Oh, okay. No, it was a video package.
Yeah, it was a video. Yeah, okay.
And the music is like, you don't want.
God, change his theme when he comes back. Just give him
Go
his old
back to
theme.
the other one.
Yeah. No, they don't want none. They don't want none.
I missed the thing when we saw in the Boneyard match at Match Club. Such a good theme. Number 9 then is open.
That could be Kofi if we haven't used him already.
I mean, Kofi over Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns.
Well, Roman Reigns wasn't on TV, so he's not eligible.
Yeah, because Solo goes, he's not here.
Maybe Cody. Maybe Cody here.
Solo?
I thought we had Solo in here as a bloodline, no?
No.
No, put the bloodline then. Put the bloodline. Okay. Let us encapsulate a bunch of people here because they got the ladder match. Jacob's still a monster. They won their match against Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. I think that's fair.
Solo cut a great promo.
Yeah.
On SmackDown. Great promo. When he was like, look, you and Randy and Kevin Owens, you couldn't beat me with them, with the bloodline. That's why you need Roman. You don't need these two. Like, such good heel work.
It was
right?
good. It was good.
I think the gloves give him comfort. One of the things, no, like, hear me out. As an actor, sometimes if you have a prop or you have a clothing or hairstyle, makeup, it's the one thing that kind of anchors you into your role. And I think the gloves anchor Solo Sikoa.
Man, it would suck if his anchor was like, I gotta wear my Where's Waldo shirt. Otherwise, I can't do this job.
Yeah, I'm just saying, dude. It's like sometimes when the gimmick has a missing piece, a mask, or because I know that Mankind went through various masks. They even want to make him look like Phantom of the Opera. But when Mankind found that leather mask, when they found it, it clicked. There's always that one anchor. And for Solo Sikoa, it's honestly the gloves. For some reason, he feels his movements and his hand pointing and everything about it kind of works.
For Tongaloa, it was the eye patch, and they took it away from him. It was the eye patch. They took it away from him.
All right, folks, here is your new heat order here. First page. Number 10, Chelsea Green. Number 9, Bloodline. Number 8, AJ Styles. Number 7, Nia Jax. Number 6, Kevin Owens. Number 5, Miz. Number 4, Xavier Woods. Number 3, Braun Strowman. Number 2, Seth Rollins. And number 1, Bronson Reed. And I want credit for stopping you from putting Seth Rollins in number 1. How dare you? How dare you, sir?
All right, my bad.
Yeah. I just how can you put Seth Rollins, who all of a sudden left the Chicago Bears bandwagon to be with the Ravens? What was that?
I don't know what that was. It's just Sunday Night Football. Like I'm here to promote.
Oh wow.
He's just there to promote.
It took like an hour 56 minutes. Your Chargers lost against the Chiefs?
Why would I feel bad about that? We have the same record as the Cowboys.
Yeah, but there is no hope for me. I got a long way to go, dude. It doesn't matter for me. I'm dead inside. But you had hope. You're like, we got hardball. We could definitely make a change. Was there a little dumb thing? Don't take the elevator. We take the stairs. Well, there you go. Up the stairs to absolutely losing. It's the L stairs. That's where you go.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Wrestling is Cool podcast. You, of course, could have gotten this episode 3 days earlier than everyone else over on patreon.com/SantiZap. And over on Patreon, we have our supporters that help this show happen as often as it does. And we have our $15 patrons who are the producers of this show. What?
Me climbing the stairs to the L.
Oh, you're an idiot. So a special extra thank you goes out to Santi, his daddy, F.U. Santi, I'm first now, Nick Harvey, 2022 Benjamin, Aaron Garcia, AC Big Mac, Adam McLeod, Aiden, Akira Kemp, Alicia Crockett, Anita Maxwin, Asher McYoda, Asperlitz, Ozzy Kingslayer, Austin Weaver, author Ellen Wittenhagen, Bailey Saunders, Ben Calloway, Barry, B. Hostile, Big Poppy Sasquatch, BK So Chill, Blake Kimball, Brady Keaton, Brandon, Brian Dardis, Bryce Burt, Caleb Lee, Callsign Caveman, Cameron Noel, Carbs Gonzalez, CB, Chew Poppy, Chris Hansen says stop oiling up Santi, Christian Billick, CM Puff, Colby Johns, Colin Roach, Connor Williamson, Danny the Chat GF, Dar, DJ Broadnax, DJS, Dumsky, Dylan, Eric Theory Gonzalez, Ethan Latch, Isatch, Isatch, L didn't count, Refs had money on Kansas City, Fish Real, Fletcher Walpole, Forever Wrestling, Franklin Everett, Gamerscape, George Valdez, Gilbert Deans, GXA Man, Harley McClure, Heartfelt, I'm Gonna Nut in Santi's Protein Shake, Wait.
Why do you read that?
Wait, well, that's his name. That's what he pays for. And I got his name wrong. It's I'm Gonna Nut in Santi's Protein Shake with you. He added with you this time. Issa David.
can I put a pause? I'm looking at your TikTok for NFL. There's no Cowboy stuff. Why not?
Because they suck
You know what?
ass.
I was watching you on Thursday Night Football, and you bailed on halftime.
Yeah, it's a terrible game. Terrible game. It's a mista. It was all field goals, bro. Terrible.
I don't care.
Terrible.
I want someone to Photoshop Karrion Kross in a Dallas Cowboys jersey.
Oh my God.
That's what I want.
There's another. I'm gonna nut in Santi's protein shake. So now that we've got like a clan of people that are gonna nut in my protein shake. Anyways,
extra protein. What 4 grams? At least?
Jack,
2, 3 grams?
Jacob Pena, Jacob Saffel, James
I'm
Abel.
afraid to Google this, but I'm gonna Google it.
Okay, Jason Jassim Alcazar, Javier Arenas, Javier Rodriguez, Jalen Steele.
Incognito mode first.
Jeremy C. Moreau, Jesse, Joe Velez, Jonah Daly, Jordan Lynch, Juan Verduzco, Judson Daniels, Justin Perkins, Candine, Kissa, Cobb's World, Kuwaiti Rick Boogs, Kyrie Lawrence, Lil Shifu, Mama Rhodes, but oh my God, we got different languages here. Mama Rhodes, van a ser las reglas de lineaje. It's going to be bloodline rules in Spanish, Sancho. Manly Man, Manuel Marufo, Marnie YCSM, Matthew Dollar, Michael Walter, Mohammed Albanai, Monte Moore. I'm struggling today with reading. Nell and Zach, Nicholas Kyle, Nighthawk, Peachmania, SmackDown's always been the A show, Phoenix, Reaper God, Ricky Dutcher, Rocky B, Rodolfo Reyes, Ryan Fear, Riley, Sancho become a heel, please. Santi is unbanned. I think he's saying that you've become a heel and that I should be unbanned from the train. I agree. Sancho Maniac, really? Saudi Rick Boogs, Screamo Scott, Seth, Shane, Shawn Michaels, Right Nostril, Silver Football, Spicy Nugget, Stephen Rhodes, Stucky, Sugar Shane, Super Malachi Galaxy, Tanisha Jones, the final boss, the gaming freak, the thought of Santi's oiled up toes in my pre-workout, TM, Tobias Burnett, Tom Lehman, Trent Head, Trexar Gaming, Two Crown, Juan Pablo the third or the fourth, Wesley Simpson, Javier Izquierdo, Zach Griffin, Zergzito, Lord BBNJ. Thank you very much for supporting us at the $15 tier and allowing us to do this as often as we do.
Answer is 252 milligrams
of protein.
Yeah. So you're looking at least 500 from both of them.
Thank you very much for watching. Take care. Be wonderful people.